Welcome back. This is part 3. Again, my name is Ray with Ray's Engines. You can check me out on Facebook at Ray's Engines. You'll see my profile picture is an airplane on it. Again, this is part 3. If you missed part 1, go back to my videos and you'll see installing the crankshaft. And then part 2 is installing the camshaft and the benefits of installing it correctly and the benefits of not installing it correctly, which is no benefits. On this one, we're going to install the pistons with the rods. I already installed the piston rings. Again, if you don't know how to install piston rings without a tool, I have a video on there as well. Just go back through my YouTube video and you'll see how to install piston rings without a tool. It's very simple. So here we are. We're going to start with the rods. We're going to go with, again, this is 1, 3, 5, 7. On this side is 2, 4, 6, 8. So if you're facing the engine this way and the engine, the front of the engine, 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. On these rods, if you go up to, let me know if I'm actually showing it on video. You'll see a little groove right here on this groove. You see a groove. Make sure that groove is facing towards the crankshaft, and I'll show you as we start assembling it. This is the flat part. If you install the flat part on the crankshaft, it's going to wear out. So you want to make sure there's that groove, which is a clearance on the crankshaft. I'll show you that in a little bit. If you remember my video on installing the crankshaft, I use bearings 001, which is marked right there, 001. I'm also using 001 on the rod bearings as well as the main bearings. On the assembly of the rod, you'll see that notch. Hopefully you can see the notch there. And then you'll see the notch there on the bearing. We're just going to install it just like this. You just push down and there's your bearing. Make sure it's flush. Wipe anything off of it, and you see it's already clean. I already used brake cleaner. Again, like I said, I use brake cleaner on everything. And if you remember on my first video, we're using the plastic gauge for clearances. You can get this at any auto parts store. And I'm going to install the bearing on the rod itself, and you can see there's that groove on the rod itself, and the same thing on the bearing. Just like that right there. Hold your finger there and push down, and there it is. Make sure it's flush. And when you install rods, the trick for the bearing not to fall out and for you not to nick the bearing, I just get 3/8 rubber hose and I put it on here and I face them. If you can see, one is angled that way, one is facing down. Reason for is because when it goes through the crankshaft, it's going to go right in here like this, and this will push it away. That way it guides itself. I'll show you that in a second. So if you want to bring the camera this way, we're going to do number 1. So I'm going to turn the engine over. And number 1, remember, it'll be on this side now. All I'm doing is moving the crankshaft over. You want the rod bearing side up. You want this facing up. Reason for, when the piston is going through, you don't want it to hit here. It will stop it. If it's facing down, if the crankshaft is facing down and you're trying to push your rod in there, it's not going to go in. That's why you want to turn it all the way. Make sure it's facing straight up. Okay. I'll show you that in a second. Go ahead and put it back. Alright, here we go. We're going to put, again, like I said, this is dry. We're not putting any lube on here yet. We are going to lube the piston on both sides, and I just use regular oil. Just put a little bit. You want to lather it all the way around so your rings will get lubed on it. You don't want to put anything dry. And if you see, I stagger the ring. There's that opening on that side, and the second ring, the opening on this side. So they're staggered. You can use any piston ring compressor that you choose. It goes just like that. You want to try to get as flush as possible. See, it's already flush. If you want to bring it this way, we're going to go and assemble the first rod, which is the number 1 rod. Remember your groove. Also, pistons have a notch. Face forward. We're gonna put oil in here as well on the cylinder. And then we're just gonna assemble our piston. Make sure it's flush. It's flush like that. Now you just tap it. It's right in. See how it went? It guided itself through. I just keep going until it goes all the way down. You can slowly, there's no rush here. There, you heard it snap. It's in, fully in. Now give me a second, I'm going to turn the engine over. Here we are. Now if you remember, we did the same thing for the crankshaft. We checked the clearances. We're going to check clearances on the bearings, on the rod bearings. And we're going to take just a small piece of the plastic gauge. We're going to rip. And here you go. This small plastic gauge just goes right there. And then we're going to put our cap. Again, remember the groove goes towards the crank so it'll clear. You don't want the flat part. The groove goes in. Again, it's dry. You don't push it there. You just make it flush. And these are tightened at 40, 45 to 50. And we're going to do it at 50. So we're going to do 2 increments. 25. First one is 25. And again, smooth. You're not yanking on it so you don't get a false reading. That's 25. Now we're going to go to 50. Here's 50. Okay. Now I want to take it off so we can check the clearance. This is basically to freshen your engine. They do this with race cars as well. They do 100 runs or 50. It all depends on the racer. And he basically puts new bearings, new rings. You just tap it up. You see, it comes right up. And then you're going to check your bearing clearances. If you remember, we did it with a small strip. We'll check the clearances. If you look here, you will see it's right at 2000s, which is great. Tight bearing clearances makes good oil pressure. So now all we do is take that off with brake cleaner like we did for the crank. And that's it. You can go back that way, and I'll finish this one up. We'll put, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it a little bit back so I can put some assembly lube in it. And basically you can just push it with your fingers. Just enough. Just enough to get some assembly lube in it. And it gets right in there. And you can push it back up. Now if you remember, we put assembly lube on everything because you don't want it to be dry. You don't want a dry startup, and you'll damage your bearings. That's basically it right there. Just like that. And again, back to 25 and then 50. Like I said before, give me a thumbs up on the video, give me a like on it, subscribe to my channel, and you can see the complete engine build on this. That way you'll get reminded and you don't miss a video. Again, 25. If you hear the snap, that's when it's time to stop. You can get different torque wrenches. There are some $1,000 ones, but you don't need those for an engine like this. Even for a supercharged engine. There it is. There's that one. And I actually can't find my boat. I'm not sure where I put it. I must have put it in a cleaning solution or something. So you can use a balancer. You can put your new or old balancer on there. Just put it on the keyways. Just enough for it to be on there. Hand, and you can just turn it just to make sure everything is running the way it's supposed to. It's moving freely. If you can turn it by hand, you're doing something right. If for some reason you can't turn it, either your torque wrench is off, you may have your rod facing the wrong way, the cap, or your rod itself, or you may have something binding. Like I said, that is why I install the camshaft first. That way I can turn it. Like I said, I've done it before on a stroker engine. I install the whole short block and then I put the camshaft in and I couldn't turn it anymore. It was binding. So this is why I do this. That way you can just keep turning it. You'll be fine. And now I'll set it up. I put it back on top. Remember, put it back on top so you can install your next rod. Now we're going to install number 2. After number 2, you'll check your clearances in between, which I'll show you here in a second. already seen how we do on this one. Since this one we already checked the bearing clearances, you can go ahead and put a assembly lube on it. And then you can, don't forget your 3/8 hose. If not, you're going to be upset at yourself because that touched the crank and now you have a nick on the crankshaft. And like I said, I already explained on the crankshaft part how you can get rid of a nick if that happens. So you can go back to that video and look how you can fix that. Don't forget, you put oil on it. Move your piston rings to make sure they're the opposite, 180 degrees. Don't forget to lube your number 2 cylinder. And then here we go, putting this one, number 2 on. You can even do it this way. You can put your rod in here. That way it helps you put your piston ring installer, or again, if you flush this, it's easier to go in a lot smoother. Just have to double check. Yes. Just like that. Remember your groove. On this one, the groove is going on the crankshaft on this side. Remember your rod is on this side now. Your notch, you'll see your notch. If somebody installed the pistons correctly, that notch goes forward. Light tap. It's already in. Reach down so you can guide it. There it is. Again, you need to put assembly lube on here. You can't put too much. Again, I gotta emphasize this. That little groove, the notch right here, goes towards the crankshaft. Like I said, this is a basic build, but you can, once you learn this step of building this entire motor, then you can build any motor. Ford, Mopar, they're all the same. Only difference is torque specs. Yes, you'll have the mains are different, but if you stay tuned, I'll show you how to do a Ford engine and how to do a Mopar engine. Alright, we're doing 25. First. And then 50. That is 50. And now, again, you turn it. See, you're still good. Again, if you want to, like I say, if you want to see I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. I'll let you go. That way you don't have to see all of them being set up. I'll go ahead. You already seen number 1, number 2. Like I said, subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. If you got any questions, you can reach me here through Messenger. You can message me on YouTube, or you can just message me on Facebook at Raise Engines. Just look for the airplane as a profile page. And stay tuned until we finish this up, and we will start this engine up. Thank you.